What's going on, everybody? It's Space City Mania here, coming at y'all with another video. Today I'm going to be doing a translation of Andree Curioso's deck profile that got first place at YCS Cancun this past weekend. I know I told y'all it was going to be out earlier this week, but because of some technical issues and delays with me being in Cancun, I just pulled up last night. I wasn't able to do it. And anyways, before I get started, I want to go ahead and thank everybody who watched that video. I never in a million years thought I would get a video with, over 10,000 views. I want to thank everybody who liked the video. I never thought I'd get a video with as many likes as the video got. And I want to thank everybody who subscribed, because, again, I never saw myself, even hitting 100 subscribers. I have a bunch of unopened Speed Duel tournament packs, that 69 unopened Speed Duel tournament packs that I was going to do as a big event whenever I got 69 subscribers. Haha, very funny. So yeah, just want to thank y'all again. If y'all enjoyed the content, please like, share, subscribe, and there'll be more to come. Anyways, let's get right into this. And before I get started, I just want to let y'all know that all the translations are my own. While I was still in Cancun, I kept rewatching the video, and I wrote 6 pages of translations. I'm going to try to use Andree's words as much as possible, and the things that I have to change as far as like literal translations are things to make it comprehensible in English. But he gives a very detailed account of what he played and why he played it. And expect this video to be 20 minutes long. It's going to be lengthy. Anyways, without further ado, let's jump right into it. This is just me saying, greetings, friends. I'm here in Cancun with Andree Curioso. What have you just done? I won YCS Cancun, and what did you play? Like I like to say, I played my Penguins, but it's Flunder. Anyways, let's begin with the list. He says, I think Flunder is a fairly standard deck. As far as the ratios are typical and the tech cards. But he chose to gamble on a couple of the aspects of the ratios in the deck, and he thinks it was worth it. There's nothing more he can ask of the deck, and it's a deck that he piloted and loved and has brought him many victories. So he'll jump right in. He says he'll begin with the Primordial Flunder engine, 3 Robin, which are the driving engine and force behind the deck. He saw it a lot over the course of the event, and now I'm ahead of him. Like I said, lots of notes. Very important as well, 3 Eagle. It allows you to add your large monsters such as Empen and Empen's cousin Apex and his brother Ryza. You should never play less than 3 Eagle. It's excellent. He has nothing more to ask of it. As far as the other 2 small birds, he's playing 1 Stritch, 1 Toucan. And Toucan is very critical at times when it comes to recycling cards, or for example when Empen is in the graveyard. Also, Toucan becomes vital in instances where you get trolled and you control the field spell or Advent of Adventure. Sequencing your chains correctly will give yourself the opportunity to play on your opponent's turn, even after being hand trapped. And it's one of the best plays in the deck. Now continuing to the level 4, he played 1 Cymorg Bird of Perfection. You might ask yourself why only 1, and it was basically justified by the chain block that it enables when you normal summon, because it's a trigger effect. And why is the chain block so important? Well, it plays into the fact that he chose to play 3 Empen. 3 Empen was everything for him in this tournament. It made the deck fairly versatile, having 3 copies of Empen. If you get hand trapped after utilizing your initial normal summon, or you get hand trapped on Eagle, your opponent will assume that your turn has ended there. But already having Empen in hand will allow you to keep playing. Next, Apex Avian. Apex Avian won him a lot of games in top 4, top 8, and in the final. It disrupts the opponent a lot, and it's not a once per turn, so if you manage to summon it again, you can use it again. Next, Ryza, what can he say? It was excellent. It allowed him to use loops on in top 32 and top 16, looping his Harpy's Featherstorm. And lastly, the MVP of the deck for him, Shifter, plays around Shifter, or sorry, plays around Droll, plays around Called By. It's a very he wants to thank Konami for not banning it. Next, he's going to move on to the spell line. 1 second there. He's gotten ahead of me at this point. Okay. It plays around Droll. It heavily hinders Unchain, hinders Rescue Ace, and it's an amazing card. Sorry. Alright. Onto the spells. He plays 4 field spells. He said most of the time terraforming and some of his field spells was the first thing that was cited out, but he considered terraforming very important because going second into a cache board, you could activate the terraforming, add your field spell, then proc the Arise Heart. Now he's set up for a tactics or a talent play. And then one of the best cards in the whole Flunder deck. Unfortunately, it's a once per turn. Advent of Adventure. This card does a lot. Dodges hand traps. Adds a field spell. Not to mention, in banishing one of your birds, it sets you up for a chain block. Unexpected wins. This is the card that won him the final. Not because he was in a tight spot, but because he was able to use it to clear his opponent's board and set himself up for an OTK. And people think that this card is a once per turn, the tributing effect, but it's not. Next up, the consistency cards of the deck. 3 Duality, 3 Prosperity. Ironically, he almost only saw Duality. He claims that his Prosperities were probably out partying because he didn't see them most of the tournament, really just in the final. 3 Book of Moon. They were also MVP in regards to the spell cards that he was using. In Top Cut, it was very useful against a player who knew the Flunder matchup very well, and they had an Imperm, and they held the Imperm until Empen. It was a very well-timed Imperm, and had he not had the Book of Moon in his hand, that would have severely crippled his turn. But because he had the book, it saved him, and his first turn basically went on uninterrupted. Alright, now on with more spells. A card that he loved since its initial announcement and he first read it. 2 Triple Tactics Thrust. This card is incredible in Flunder. In a lot of instances, your opponent is forced to interact with you, and this allows you to capitalize on him, giving you the option to add a talent or set up Harpy's Featherstorm, the 2 1-ofs in the main deck. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry. But this gives me a chance to catch my breath. Let's see. So last trap, Dreaming Town. It's a thrust target and evenly. Also a thrust target. And now he just goes on about how with triple tax going second, basically you're playing 3 copies of evenly. Going first, you're playing 3 copies of Featherstorm. And he played 40 cards. He always has played 40 cards, and he thinks that 40 cards is the adequate count for this deck. Now, onto the extra deck. A lot of people say that extra deck in Flunder is unimportant, but he thinks it's wrong because inevitably you're going to end up in a situation where you need it. And although he'll admit that if you find yourself in a situation where you do need your extra deck, you're already in dire straits, regardless, it is necessary. Beginning with the links, he's playing 1 Omen, 1 Farigit, 1 Anima, 1 Phoenix, 1 Cerberus, which is synonymous with Bagooska. He just used it exclusively for Bagooska. For Pearly, he plays 1 Goddess, Underworld Goddess, and then the 1 BLS. And out of those last 2, he only ever summoned Underworld Goddess. With respect to Xyz monsters, he plays 2 Zeus, 2 Nightingale, and Downard. The Nightingale for swinging direct and being able to get to that big Zeus body. He plays the 1 Recital Starling, and Kinkagachi Fucko. And the last card in the extra deck, One a Rise Heart. He never went into it, but in testing, he liked having it in case he needed to triple tax a Kashtira monster after proccing the Shangri era and being able to go for a very big Zeus play. And now I'm asking him, when he utilizes Prosperity, what are usually his first 6 cards that he banishes if he's going in blind? He says, if it's turn 1 and I don't know what I'm going into, he goes with... ooh, 1 second. He's losing me right here. Okay. Cards that he uses, that he loses off Prosperity or banishes off Prosperity turn 1. And he'd go Recital Starling because it only really applies in a more developed game state. The BLS because it would never come up turn 1. The Nightmare Monsters because turn 1 they'll never come up if he's going first, and then the 2 Tri-Brigades. Basically, this is always the line of cards that he banishes, and he recalls, as I mentioned, if you know what your opponent's playing, you obviously banish different cards depending on what the counterplay will be. And that was the extra deck. Now onto the side deck, which was worth its weight in gold for him this weekend. Triple Nibiru, which is excellent against Cash, excellent against Unchained. Also, Rescue Ace. A few variants of it play Fenrir and tend to overextend. The 3 Rescue Ace players that he played against extended plenty, but only one of them was able to catch a nib. But he says it's, regardless, it's very versatile because for him it offers an additional tribute material. And if his Nibiru isn't going to be tributed, he's just going to crash it with the token and go into an evenly match. His great friends, Triple Ash, which helped him very much in top cut against Flundermeers. Ash is everything in the Flundermeer. He was paired against his friend Ryan Fletcher, a great and incredible and seasoned player, and it was his most difficult match of the whole weekend. He was amazed that they were paired in top cut, and that they both he thinks that they both played their best match, and Ash was everything in that match, and that's it for hand traps, or for monsters at least. He played 3 Cosmics, which were also very, very useful in the mirror match. He just Cosmic Streaming Town in the draw phase, and that's GG. 2 Book of Eclipse, which he justified being in the side deck because of the presence of Cash, Rescue Ace, and Pearly. Mostly there for Pearly, but he never actually got paired against a Pearly. Also for Pearly, he played 1 Herald of the Abyss. Even though Unexpected Winds can out the big Pearly monster, he wanted to have something that he could triple Tactics Thrust out. And lastly, moving on to the traps. 1 evenly match, so he has the 2 thrust and the other evenly match, so he plays effectively 4 going second, and then the other 2 copies of Harpy's Featherstorm, which are which were very useful to him. Oh my goodness, I thought I had YouTube Premium. I was lied to. Okay. And now I say, normally I would ask you if there was anything about the list that you would change, but seeing as you took down the whole event, I'd assume you think the list is basically perfect. Now he responds saying the list, he thinks it was, he says, as human beings, we're inherently imperfect beings. We seek balance and equilibrium, and we try to move towards it in situations where we can find it and be comfortable. He says, I think, as you mentioned, I wouldn't change anything about the list. It served me very, very well. In particular, the main deck was basically perfect. He wouldn't change a single card. He doesn't regret the 3M pen. He doesn't regret the Cymorg. He doesn't regret a single card. Again, it does seem perfect. The only thing that he might consider changing was not playing a Harpy's Feather Duster in place of one of the Cosmics. Not that the Cosmics were bad, but the Harpy's Feather Duster would have made his life a lot easier, particularly against Rescue Ace monsters. In Top Cut against Rescue Ace, he had access to Cosmic, but having and he had a thrust in hand, and having been able to have access to uh, Feather Duster would have made his life a lot easier. But in that particular instance, he was able to thrust into an evenly, and the evenly served basically the same purpose as the Duster, so it got him there. That's the only thing that he'd really consider changing. And he'd like to comment that in his Top Cut match, his opponent, or sorry, his final match, his opponent was very well seasoned in the rescue, or sorry, in the Flunder matchup. He had the understanding that his opponent was very skilled, and his opponent knew when and where to apply all of his effects against him, and yeah, it was a difficult match. All right. And now I ask him what his record in Swiss was. He says he was X2 day one. He won 6, lost 2, obligating him to completely win out on day 2 of Swiss, which he managed to do. Though, and he says even though his deck was excellent, one thing that is unavoidable is the occasional brick. He lost round 1 of the whole tournament against Unchained. He comments that the Unchained player really just, they had everything. They're a very good player. They had great plays, and he comments that he himself also had great plays, but he wasn't able to win out the match. And after losing round 1, he was able to win his next 4, and then in round 6, he was paired against a Rescue Ace player. He won the die roll. He goes first, and he opens 3 Imperm, 2 Field Spell. He scooped. They went to the next duel. And then in the next duel, he opens Field Spell, Unexpected Winds, and 3 Feather Storms. And that was it. He says they were done in less than 5 minutes, and he got up and went to go do something useful with his time. But those were his only 2 losses in Swiss. He says in the last Swiss rounds today, which would be the day 2 of the YCS, he managed to he played another Rescues player, and he also played an excellent tier player, which he managed to 2-0, but he was a very good player. He comments that it was Yassine. A lot of y'all are familiar with him, and it was his first time ever playing Yassine, but he noticed that Yassine is a very good, very skillful player, and it was a very good and skillful, and he also comments honorable game that he was able to overcome. Now, if you ask him, his hardest match of the whole event was top 16 against Ryan Fletcher. All right, and he comments that in the Flunder Mirror is very skillful, very tactical. That a single misplay and the game is just over for you. He also comments that he doesn't think either of the 2 players, him or Ryan, committed any misplays throughout that whole match. He thinks that he just drew better, you know. He says Featherstorm was very crucial for him in that match, just turn skipping his opponent. He said they nearly went into time, though. Also, here he's presenting the autograph that he has, that Ryan gave him when he met him last year at YCS Bogota, where he also played him in Top Cut and was also able to secure a win. At which point he asked him to sign that M pen, and from then on sprouted a very respectful and joyful friendship. And in fact, they spent the whole last month discussing lists, and during registration, while they were standing in line, they were still debating what cards to play in the side deck. And they made some last-minute changes, and both of them believe that they were for the better. Now I'm asking him, you mentioned that you played Flunder at other various events. Did you ever consider any other deck? Now he comments, he prefers to play control decks, and it seemed to him that Flunder was an excellent pick going into this event because of the high Unchained representation. Although unfortunately, Unchained can't really do anything in the face of an M-Pen, and ultimately that was why he played the deck. He did have some concerns because his Rescue Ace matchup was not an easy one, and it's the kind of matchup where if you don't open good or you commit a misplay, you lose. He says Pearly, he can get over it and cashes fairly easy. But again, he was under the understanding that there was going to be plenty of plenty of Unchained representation. My goodness, I once again apologize. I might have to cut these. And again, I'm thanking him, congratulating him, just telling him that now he's added to like the list of legendary players who've topped a YCS, and we're looking forward to seeing him at the next one. And now he comments again that it was a very difficult YCS. He suffered a mini panic attack when he showed up and saw all of the famous faces that he recognized. Most of all of them were friendly. The community is very friendly, but he knew the event wasn't going to be easy by any means. And I'm commenting again, for a relatively small YCS, it was kind of crazy the amount of familiar faces that were there, really fantastic players that were there. And now we're just denoting some of the players that were there. A couple of world champions, Andres Torres, Jesse Cotton, Pack. It was a never-ending list of high caliber players that were at the event. And now he's saying that out of all the famous players, the only pro player that was missing from the event was Joshua Schmidt. And he's saying again, he felt almost out of place. All these pro players, and he's over here playing Flunder. But he thinks that it was his turn. It was his time. And I'm going to go ahead and pause this. Now I just ask him about shout-outs. He says it's a very long list of shout-outs, and if he was to individualize every single name, he couldn't get through the whole thing. Anyways, that's about where we are. The rest of the video is just shout-outs and thank yous and congratulations. But everybody who watched this far, thank you for watching this far. I'm sorry if my translation is kind of jittery or difficult to understand. If there's any part of this that y'all did not get, please just timestamp it in the comments and ask me, and I'll clarify. I'm trying to do the best translation that I can, but it's kind of hard, doing it live. But that's the list. Before I finish up the video, I just want to comment that Andree is a great guy when you meet him. He's very noble. I've met a couple of people who are I know he's an excellent person, and honestly, all of the pro players and the YouTubers that I met at the event this weekend were really great people. The community was looking fantastic this weekend, and yeah, if y'all enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a comment, like, subscribe, share. I really hope that the translation was adequate. It's my first time trying something like this. And if there's any more deck profiles on my channel that y'all see in Spanish and y'all want to hear in English, or want translated English, or vice versa, are in English and you wish to hear them in Spanish, drop a comment and I'll do what I can. But yeah, I hope everybody has a nice day. And thank you for watching. Space City Manny out.